Buddy, it's me, AvronPlays, and I'm here with Kodiakbricks.
See, the real question is, do you think free will is an illusion?
Oh my god.
Or do you think it's like a subscription service?
It's late stage capitalism. It's obviously
yeah,
a subscription.
Pay to win, right?
I'm curious about your theory.
About the...
about free will being a subscription service.
So, it works like this, you see. When we die, right? Like, I can explain what happens to kind of the body, right? The physical components that comprise our meat suit, to be reductive for the sake of comedy.
Of course.
I don't, nor do I trust anyone that pretends to know that, like, what happens to us, right? The consciousness, the string of events and history that create the continuity of a person. Some people like to refer to that as a soul. I feel not inaccurate in saying that, but I feel it's closer to recognize that it is a collection of events, of people who influence us, of, you know, little tiny insignificant moments contrasted against, like, the big heart-wrenching set pieces that make someone's life. That version of us, I don't know what happens to that after we die. But I sure as fuck know what happens before we're born. And what happens before we're born is we are given a iPad by, it feels reductive to say God, but a man, no, a black woman in a white lab coat hands us an iPad. Steve Jobs is also there. Don't pay him any mind. And you are asked to choose the life that you wish to experience once you reach this mortal plane. And your options are solely locked by a paywall. A lot of people can only sort of select the, like, impoverished, lower middle class kind of lifestyle for themselves. Occasionally, very, very occasionally, you find someone in real life who has figured out an item duplication glitch, and they're able to have a rags to riches thing. The devs, heaven, if you will, in the Western sense of the word, and let's be clear about this, right bastards will tend to patch that get-rich-quick scheme. Usually in the worst way, bureaucracy, making it so that the everyman can't become every man. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess so.
Now I'll take it again from the top in Spanish. Hola, soy I almost said la oso. Soy el oso. I can misgender myself in a foreign language. Oh, she's stretched. Oh, that's a big stretch.
I'm just too cozy.
Oh, mess.
I killed the mimics.
Yay! Did you get all the XPs?
I did.
And the loots?
I got Karlach's very heavy axe back because
Neat.
one of them ate it.
Ah, bastards.
Truly. Bunch of bitches.
Yep. Yep. Oh. What was I going to talk about? Right, licorice. So, since I woke up around midnight last night and couldn't fall back asleep, I came down to do some voice acting work and get stuff recorded while everything was kind of quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And bless Licorice, he's been doing this for every single video I have ever done without fail. Because I'll be sitting here streaming for hours, right? And he may come up once or twice. You know, there were Sundays back at the apartment where I was on my computer all day and he never once, like, came up to, like, say hi or do anything. Like, he would nap in one spot, get up, stretch, eat a bit, take a healthy shit, find another spot, and just have himself another nap. You know, my handsome boy, he excelled at napping. I give him that. However, when I'm recording, specifically voice lines, where, like, you know, I need clean, fluid audio, and sometimes I'm re-recording lines just over and over and over again to try to get the best take. And I don't always end up going with the last take. Sometimes as I'm listening through to them, I throw a certain inflection that I like or a certain delivery during my time trying out the line and trying out different ways of saying it. Flows better, you know, between the line that I picked previously as opposed to the way it was originally written.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of variety. There's, you know, a whole back end that goes into it. I normally cut this part out of all of my videos. However, last night, as with any time I record, I get maybe 4 or 5 lines in. And Licorice will storm up, screaming and hollering, demanding attention. Right then, right there. Dad, you're doing funny voices. Stop it.
I mean, if you have time to do funny voices, you have time to pay attention.
This is fair. You bugs. Oh, pardon me. And so I decided to turn last night's little excursion into like a short. And was translating like what he said in his meows.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time I was sitting there just having a little too much fun with it, I kept thinking to myself, like, what is he actually going to say here? Like, you know, should I use this platform to, like, make a point, or, you know, should I try to, like, represent the voice of my handsome little man as best I can? And I came to the epiphany that he's basically saying nothing. Talking in circles, and once he like actually has the like silence and you know, the attention that he's demanding, that's when he goes quiet and gets shy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, you little shit, I love you.
He loves you too.
I know. I get that this is a puzzle game, and like I've gotten that about all of the Resident Evil games, right? Horror puzzle or whatever.
Uh-huh.
It's like if you're doing Sudoku, but someone just like
Has a gun to your head.
just screams in your ear every 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
It's still one of those where like occasionally from my time like studying game design and just a lot of the video essays I listened to, I pick up on a lot more of like
Jill?
the little
Chris,
details.
you're alive!
Of course I'm alive. Jill, there's something
Chris.
big going down, and I don't think we're part of the equation.
Why do you still
We
have your
to get
knife?
you out of here.
Why would they let you have that?
Open. Wait, I'll be back to get you out.
Okay, no sightseeing though.
Cool, bye. But it is very funny to me, like, kind of ignoring like Maslow's hierarchy of these might be nices. Specifically when you're in like certain venues of like level design and whatnot. It is striking for like even, you know, AAA video games, for all their detail, and for all the, you know, asterisks here, production work that they put into their worlds. I remain ever humored whenever I'm running through a place and I'm like, where's the bathroom? Why does this massive facility with hundreds of employees not have a bathroom?
Yep.
And I, you know, it makes me kind of think, like, okay, fucking, you know, I work in a secure facility, right? I feel that what, you know, secret, you know, government virus fucking projects notwithstanding, I feel my workplace has security that is pretty comparable to like what Umbrella and their facilities would have. If I had to solve a fucking Steam puzzle to visit the head of HR, I would not work there. And like I'm not trying to be like, I'm all self-important. I work at this like grand facility. I don't talk a whole lot about like the more specific details of what I do, mostly because I enjoy having a job.
Right.
But like to give, you know, the layman a like fair idea of how serious the work I do is, we have to be careful about the alarm at my company, because if it goes off and nobody responds, they don't dispatch like a security agent from like the alarm company. They don't call the police. They don't call SWAT. The National Guard is notified. Like, that is where we are at if the alarm goes off and no one answers.
See, goodbye.
But yes.
Well, all of that to say, yeah, if I had to like solve a Steam puzzle or like go get a fucking fuel capsule on one end of the facility to then like run across to the other end of the facility to plug in order to like access the bathroom, I'd be furious.
Yeah. I mean, credit where credit's due. A lot of these puzzles you don't have to do under, like, normal operation circumstance.
Sure.
Like, some are obviously there, and some can be explained by just being, like, literally hidden things.
Right.
So they wouldn't be accessed, like, day to day, at least not by a lot of
Right.
people. But
It-
other
it's
things are a little
Yeah.
conspicuous.
It's another thing where, like, I can't watch heist movies anymore.
Uh
They've just been ruined for me.
huh.
Because there is so much oversight that needs to happen from so many security professionals in order for a heist to work. And make no mistake, it happens. Like, it you know, heists are real, but the asterisk that is floating above that statement is sort of held in the microcosm of saying nobody in Hollywood has a grasp on what a heist looks like.
Yeah.
That being said, I also totally acknowledge that if I watched something as conspicuous and, like, laissez-faire as a heist movie,
Wesker.
and it was accurate,
Barry's a disappointment.
then
It's
I
too
would
bad
grow
he wasn't much of a poker player.
deeply concerned.
You were behind all of this.
Yeah.
Why eliminate stars?
Also,
Believe
okay,
it or not,
professionalism
that's
101,
Umbrella's
don't
intention.
put your gun in someone's face.
So
That is a
having stars
fantastic
nosing
way to
about
lose
is an
control of it.
inconvenience. You're just like all the
Yeah.
other things. A slave of Umbrella.
That was like
Smart
acting.
girl.
That was
But I think you misunderstand.
that was impressive.
The things you mention are nothing. I'll burn all of them along with this entire laboratory. That will be the end of my connection with Umbrella.
What? What are you planning?
I want to show you something. The ultimate life form. Tyrant.
You couldn't have been experimenting on people.
It's...
Yes, Jill.
For the
Have you been reading the books?
You'll never
Okay.
understand.
Some people aren't literate.
She's just been picking them up and staring at them so we can read them. But she can't read them.
She just goes all cross-eyed anytime the book is up and we're reading it out. Now, obviously, she can't hear us.
I'll deal with you, freak.
See ya.
I need to get some distance on him, or
Also,
we'll just have last time.
Right. I'm endlessly entertained by again, like, Jill's reaction time is measured in the better span of a dog's lifespan. Like, I love her. Make no mistake. She's an amazing protagonist. Question mark.
She gets better.
Sure. But the whole, like, Wesker turned to look and be like the ultimate life form. He's incredible and amazing. And if I am Jill in that scenario and someone had put a gun in my face, punched me in the face, and then had the audacity to The discovery of the G virus was in fact 21 years after the administration of the primogenitor
Yes,
virus.
primogenitor.
The prototype parasite, which we had delivered from a laboratory in France, was administered to a sample specimen. The sample specimen took in the parasite without showing any signs of adverse reaction. The lack of any reaction was an unsolved mystery, but now everything is clear to me now. The prototype parasite was incubating in the sample specimen's body for 21 years. Then from that incubating state, the prototype suddenly mutated. Evolved may be a more appropriate word to describe it. This observation gave me more insight in my research. Through further modification and testing, I was able to derive a method to create the G that surpasses the performance of the T. This was the breakthrough that would change the future of the BOW's history and allow us to manufacture the GT Mustang. I can't wait to see the look on Alexia's annoying face when I finally announce my research. But unfortunately, I'll have to wait a few more years to completely verify my findings. William Birkin.
Hey, it's Willie B.
Willie B!
We know him.
But, yeah, you put a gun in my face, you punch me, and then you have the audacity to turn away. I'm clearing leather and dispatching you. I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
I'm a little sorry.
No, you're not.
I'm sorry that you were dumb enough to take your eyes off me.
That's valid.
Okay. Cool. Bye, guys. I'll see you later. Oh. Well, it's a good thing I didn't try to leave, because I wouldn't have been able to. That means that there's gotta be a terminal around here or something.
Yeah, Jill?
Yeah, I'm sure it's real creepy, but how do I get out?
Cool.
Unspeakably ugly.
I mean, was gonna say, kind of see where the wires are going from the door, but I'm not sure if those are what it's asking you to follow.
I don't know, Dave. There are wires everywhere.
This is fair. But you see what I mean? Like, there are wires right there.
Yeah.
Ostrich.
I don't know, maybe I've been playing too much SCP-5K. Where
Oh,
they
there it
actually,
goes.
There you go.
It's just specific on where it wants you to press the button.
Hilarious. What was it you asked me to elaborate on before stream? I've completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, I don't recall.
Let's load up.
I know, I recently did lunch with my manager and one of my other bosses to discuss a hilarious yet sad project we have coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to give details on that, but aforementioned NDA.
Mm-hmm.
But during the lunch, since it was before New Year's?
Yes.
Yes, it was before New Year's. And the subject of New Year's fireworks came up. And my boss mentioned that he has a bunch of like mortars that were left by some of his in-laws from the previous like firework outing, but he doesn't have a mortar launcher for them.
Oh.
And it reminded me of a Colston story. I don't know how much I've told you, or I guess really anyone, about Colston.
I don't recall.
I recall this story. Buckle up.
It is one of those stories where I recount it and people are like, no, this isn't the story you think it is. I don't think I've told you this story.
I can only fathom.
It is.
I'm buckled up.
It's putting forward. There's more than one Colston fireworks story.
Jesus fucking Christ.
We were little pyromaniacs.
Wait, so this isn't the one where you accidentally created a bomb?
This is not the one where
Which time?
Well, I hate that I have to ask which time. In Minecraft, in Minecraft, everyone.
I don't know how to narrow it down. I just remember you told us a story, or at least you told me a story, where you and a friend whose name I forgot, so it could be this fellow.
It is Colston in this case.
You put a bunch of fireworks together in like a box and exploded it and made a bomb by accident.
Yeah. Yes. There are more dumb details to that story, but for the,
well,
Aren't there
yes.
always?
For the sake of comedy, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Hang on. Okay. Sorry, I had to blow my nose. Didn't want to blow chat's ears out.
Oh, good.
Jill,
So,
everything's
Colston
taken
and
care
I often
Well,
found
almost.
ourselves.
Now let's get the hell out of here.
I don't know if it was due to the willful irresponsibility of his father, or the complete absence of my parents, or some
Yes.
combination of the two.
Yes.
But Colston and I often ended up in possession of both a gas station Bic lighter and a truly irresponsible amount of fireworks. Hence the aforementioned story. This was... Oh my god, I'm
Come
pretty
on,
sure this
let's
was
go.
the same winter as that story. But one of the things that God, even starting to recount this story, I just remember how fucking dumb this all was. He had about 12 or 13 mortars.
Oh god.
And for anyone who doesn't know, a firework mortar is basically a little capsule about the size of a soda pop can. And it has a fuse and 2 charges. You light the fuse and you drop it inside of like a specialized tube that it comes with. The first charge explodes, propelling it out of the tube high into the sky. At which point, the like stadium-style large fireworks happen. Like one of those big ol' grand explosions. They're usually, you know, a couple 100 feet in the sky, you know, couple, 50, 60 meters, like somewhere up that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they are intended to be far away from the ground. Because you really don't realize how fucking massive of an explosion it is until it happens on the ground.
Uh-huh.
And Colston had all these mortars left over because they were using them for their New Year's celebration. However, one of the mortars, the primary charge failed. So it did not propel the secondary charge up into the sky, and it destroyed the mortar. It destroyed the little specialized tube.
Right.
So now they have all these mortars and nothing to do with them. Well, your boy Dave, little baby bear, had 3 things. He had duct tape. He had a PVC pipe that was long enough, or like wide enough, to fit the mortar shells. And he had an airsoft gun.
I think you're forgetting a 4th item.
Which is?
Sufficient stupidity.
Oh, that was in grand supply here. Because I opened up the crafting menu and I attached the tube to the bottom of this grenade launcher via duct tape to replicate a grenade launcher. This made perfect sense in Colston and I. Now again, like I'm thinking back on it today and just recognizing that it was demonstrated by one of the mortars in like the supply that was given to us, that the possibility of the first charge failing but the second charge not was totally possible.
Yeah, it was very real.
Meaning that I would be holding an explosive roughly the size of a soda can. That being said,
every day I'm amazed you made it.
I'm amazed I have any fingers. That I'm not gesturing with my nubs at the screen right now.
Yup.
But yeah, we fired them all off by Colston lighting them and sliding them down the tube, and me holding this airsoft gun against my shoulder to launch the grenades into the field behind our house.
Mm.
There's so much to that sigh.
I don't need to elaborate.
Nope. What a thrill. Yeah, there was that one. We made a potato cannon at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do I need to explain to the audience what a potato cannon is?
I don't know, but you can if you want. I don't know how much
Okay,
that's
feel
common
free to look it
knowledge
up,
or
Kenny.
not.
I don't know either, because there are things that I brought up to my friend from Massachusetts that I thought were just like normal parts of childhood. And he clarified to me that like if it wasn't Pokemon or gang shootings, he didn't know what it was. Love you, Matty Matt.
I was gonna ask.
But you know, I constantly forget, like, oh yeah, I grew up in the fucking backwoods. Like, as high class backwoods as they were still backwoods. But for anyone too lazy to pull up Google, fucking hell, you're watching this stream, like, you've got time.
Exploring the grid.
A potato cannon is a collection of PVC components that you assemble into a, well, cannon.
Back it up.
And you put a potato down the barrel. You have two methods of doing it. You can either find like perfectly shaped potatoes to put down the barrel, or if you're, let's be honest, a redneck, you cut you sharpen the edge of the barrel so that it shaves part of the potato off, which achieves a more perfect bullet. Jesus Christ, little girl. What are you doing?
Being an asshole.
Hey, Mabel. You not? So, of course, we sharpened the barrel to allow the potato to be a more perfect sealant of the projectile. You then fill the back end with hairspray, propane if you're fancy, you know, some sort of propellant. Close the chamber after filling it with whatever your propellant of choice is.
Yeah.
And then you would have attached just a regular old spark plug hooked up to a 9-volt battery in order to create a sufficient charge that creates an explosion inside the chamber, which propels the potato into a hillside. So we built one of those. And, yeah, there's not really, like, a more remarkable, like, note to that. It's just that was a thing Colston and I did, and it worked. I mean, we shot potatoes into a mountainside.
How much force do those things put out?
I didn't have like a chronometer or anything like that to measure the FPS of the potato.
So far.
We can make it.
What I do know is that it had about the
Chris.
recoil of a
Have my
12
moments
gauge
too?
shotgun.
All right.
So, like, not unmanageable if you're an adult and know what you're doing. But as a 12-year-old, can knock you on your ass if you're not careful.
Signal rockets.
Ooh. to send signals.
Yeah,
Signals, if you
apparently. I guess we'll use them.
Oh, hey, I did that at one point from an airsoft gun.
You made it.
Thanks, guys. Let's say, we're about to have a helicopter boss battle.
No, this is our helicopter.
Ah. Kaboom? I feel like Rico from the fucking penguins of Madagascar. I'm just like, aw. Oh, Licorice! You make an appearance! Hi! Yeah, hello! Tell him! Hi! Did you have a good nap? Did you dream it all? Are you ready for food? Licks lips. Okay. Resident Evil! Oh, I didn't pull up my soundboard. Look at me go.
Wow.
I know.
I think
Look at me slacking.
you avoided saying anything that would trigger it intentionally, so there's that.
Possibly. Fair enough. Hi, handsome. Licorice. Hi, dude. Hi, baby boy. Oh, Boogie Boy. I got you. Okay. Oh, better. Oh, better. Yeah. Did Dad come bother you halfway through your nap? So this is the remaster of where it all started, huh?
Yep.
Jill, you did a fine job.
Fascinating. Ammo used. Real survival mode unlocked, huh?
Yeah, real survival mode.
Press button. Where's
Press
the A
button.
key? Oh, you got a closet key for a new costume.
Oh,
Well done.
so I guess you might be curious to know if you give Barry his gun,
Oh yeah.
he survives and he pulls the self-destruct for you.
Ah.
So that's why the self-destruct didn't come up.
So no kaboom.
No kaboom. We can probably kaboom during the Chris game though.
Sure.
Which I guess I'm just gonna start.
May as well, yeah. Chris Crimson Grotto.
It should be pretty quick.
Alpha team is flying around the forest zone situated in northwest Raccoon City.
Because
They are searching for the helicopter.
they should be pretty similar, so I should be able to
during the middle of their
figure everything out more quickly.
Right, not as much guesswork or
bizarre murder cases have recently
having
occurred in
to
Raccoon City.
do things to
There are
access the
outlandish
bathroom.
reports of families being attacked by a group of about 10 people. Victims were apparently eaten. The Bravo team was sent in to investigate, but we lost contact.
Look, Chris.
Bravo team's helicopter was a derelict. Save for the remaining body of Kevin.
Oh no, Kevin.
No, not Kevin.
We continued our search for the other members.
I'm
Turned
like,
into
oh,
a
that
nightmare.
I don't know if we're just like the only assholes who made that mistake, or if it's just a common like player thing to call him Kevin.
That would be hilarious. If just a lot of people are walking around not realizing that his name is Kelvin.
I mean, in our defense, it's a weird fucking name.
Yeah. Oh no, not Joseph.
Oh. He was the character of all time.
Come on! Hey, Brad! Where the hell's he going?
Also, Brad, luckiest helicopter pilot in video games.
Yeah.
Did not go down.
Damn it! Make for that mansion!
He's not beating him by much since he probably died in Resident Evil 2 off screen, but
Fair enough.
he at least survived the flying the helicopter part.
Captain Wester.
There is one helicopter pilot who I respect in video games. Just like in
Is
general.
everyone all right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Barry.
I feel
Where's
bad
Billy?
because I can't remember his name, but he's the pilot
No.
of like your main chopper
was
in
that?
fucking Battlefield Bad Company
I'll go
2.
and check it out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Jill and I will
'Cause,
stay and
like-
secure this area.
He's a pacifist, like very much a hippie, and is like at immediate odds
care.
with like the
Yeah.
the crew like of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also like pretty endearing and worked pretty hard to like, you know, get you in and out of places as the campaign goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers. He eventually like gives up his pacifist nature in order to like save you guys. And does not make it out of that encounter alive. But and like I don't know, man. One of the few helicopter pilots in gaming I can think of who wasn't me in Battlefield 3, because I spent an inordinate amount of time getting way too good at helicopters in that game.
Mm-hmm. Okay, bye.
Anyway, your vibes are rancid. I'm leaving. Barry, there was a monster.
We'll see. We don't even have Barry.
Oh.
Barry is missing.
Where is
Wesker?
Barry?
Jill?
Sorry.
Go.
Where did they go? Wow, somebody dropped their gun, so you're not entirely useless anymore, Chris. What's your fucking knife?
Oh, speaking of other dumb things we did in our childhood. Wait, Brandon actually brought this one up and was surprised I had not told Margaret this story.
Is this going to be the first I'm hearing about it?
Yes, because I still haven't told you about it.
God damn it.
So, my dad, okay. There's a lot I could say, a lot of asterisks, a lot of caveats, etc., etc. He is a good man who does not always have the best ideas. And he reminded me the last time we were there of a game we used to play. So I know I've talked on stream previously about Titanic 1 and 2.
Yes.
What I haven't really talked about is at that same lake, during the winter, occasionally we would go ice fishing. However, usually like the lake was kind of packed as far as ice fishing went. Like there were really only a few good spots. And if you didn't get there early in the season, like you were hosed. Because there are some hardcore motherfuckers that will like camp out there on the lake. And if you don't beat them to the punch, then you're not getting like an ideal spot. T. With that being the case, we would often actually go closer to the, how do I put this? Closer to the spring. So a lot of the ice fishers would have packed up and left. A lot of like the heavier ice out on the lake would have thinned out. And at one point, we kind of put all our fishing stuff down. Because my dad suggested a game to us. And this game is called Structural Integrity Bowling.
No.
The first half of this game is not bad. The second half is where it gets concerning. So, the first half, you find a rock out on the shore. And similar to how you'd skip a stone across the water, you have to toss it out onto the ice. Then the other players of this game have 3 shots each to, similar to shot put, propel their rocks directly up, falling like mortars on top of where the first player's rock landed, in an attempt to sink it. If, as the player, you sink the host's rock, you get a point. And a new host, is chosen and the game continues. However, if the players exhaust all of their shots and your rock remains, then you get 3 points. But only if you can retrieve your rock.
Okay.
And, we were all actually pretty good at sinking each other's rocks. Foreshadowing is a literary device where we go ahead and continue the story. Because we were all able to, my dad would put it out there, my sister and I would sink it. My sister would put one out there, my dad and I could sink it, I'd put one out there, etc., etc. So we ended up moving to a different section of the ice. And there was a pretty solid, dense thunk when my dad, sent his stone out there. And these are not, hand-sized pebbles, right? These are kind of the two-handed, stepping stone style rocks that we're talking about here.
Okay.
So he sent his out there, and it did not go through the ice at all. So he sent another one, shot put style, just on his own, and it landed right next to the other rock, and there was this kind of just echoing, thud that transferred through the lake water. It sounded really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad determined that the ice was thick enough here that we could actually walk out on it. So we did. We retrieved those rocks that he had shot, and then he put them a little further out and used them to test kind of the structural integrity of the ice around. And we spent a couple minutes out there having fun, throwing rocks and whatnot. And my dad is finally okay, let's head back to shore. This has been kind of the conclusion of us out on the lake.
Mm-hmm.
We were starting to get cold, it's not spring, fully, but it's not the dead throes of winter.
Yeah.
But we'd still been out there for a couple hours. We're starting to get cold. And shuffling our way back, my dad chooses to take this as a parenting moment and reinforce to my sister and I that what we're doing is a terrible idea and we should never do this. Immediately after he finishes, I'm not kidding, the moment the words stop leaving his mouth, my sister goes through the ice.
Audie told me this story. She beat you to the punch a year ago.
Cool. I love that you've just been sitting there quietly seething.
Yes.
So she goes through the ice. She did not go all the way. She was able to fan her arms out and catch herself. But up to her torso, she was now submerged in freezing water.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my dad, being occasionally dumb but ultimately responsible, launches into action and tells me to get completely flat on my chest on the ice. And I do. He then grabs my boots by the ankles and propels me forward. I lock arms with my sister, and he slowly and carefully, through the weight distribution of me, pulls her out of the ice and out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
We got back to the car, took off her soaked clothes, wrapped her in towels and blankets, and cranked the heater as high as it would go to avoid hypothermia. And a good time was had by all except my sister.
For reasons I frankly cannot imagine.
I cannot deduce why this would live in her memory as an unpleasant experience. To that credit, I have not gone back out on the ice, whether to play structural integrity bowling or otherwise. Ew.
On guard. Oh, this is a terrible idea.
Get stabbed, fucko. Oh. Speaking of New Year's and fireworks, Aaron, do you have a favorite firework?
I can't say I do.
Fair enough.
I'm not really a big fan of fireworks anymore, to be honest.
You're correct.
And that's perfectly fair. They hold a special place in my heart, as I'm sure you've garnered.
Mm-hmm.
But can I tell you my favorite firework?
Go for it.
Sparklers.
Yeah?
Now, make no mistake. On their own, dumb as hell. Just this little fucking lighty stick hooray, right?
Great for kids.
But one of truly and a foundational memory for my sister and I, because this escalated, as all things did with my dad, through a series of what I can only describe as mistakes.
Stinanks,
So
we'll
here's
call
how
them.
it started. Stinanks. My sister and I complained that sparklers are dumb as hell. And we're right. They're dumb as hell. They suck, frankly. We,
Is this Desert Story?
yes.
God damn it.
We want big explosions, right? We want flashy shows. Like, our fireworks display in our neighborhood when we were growing up at my dad's place would end with a bonfire in the middle of the road. And I'm not talking like a bonfire that like we brought wooden logs and like put stones around and made a little like fire pit. No, it was the cardboard remnants of all of the cases that the fireworks came in. That we would slowly ramp up and escalate the like firework usage as the night went until we basically aligned an entire case's worth of fireworks all right next to each other, and we would light one or two of like the fountains and would try to stage them so that like the fountain of one would ignite the fuse of another fountain that would that would ignite another fountain that would ignite another fountain, and on and on and on this process went.
Mm-hmm.
And the fireworks in this congregation of close proximity, multiple of them going off, some of them already burned out, others not yet lit, would eventually ignite the entire cardboard stack, resulting in a bonfire.
As
Which
you
we
do.
would then cast all of the trash from the previous fireworks sets into, so that cleanup the following morning was a matter of a push broom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much city ordinance loved what we were doing. I also don't know how much they actually made it up into the neighborhood where we were doing this. As far as I know, we didn't start any major fires. Don't quote me on that.
As far as you know.
As far as we know. Now, our bonfires usually didn't do any damage to the actual, like, asphalt, right? Like, there was some burning, right? But, like, a rainstorm or two would, like, clear them up through the summer. And we were careful to not do the bonfire in the same place every single year because, you know, that wears away at the pavement.
Yeah.
However, my dad overheard this complaint about sparklers. And he decided to show my sister and I a little trick.
Just a small one.
Just a small one. He took all of the sparklers that we had at that point, probably 3 or 4 boxes worth. He takes them into the garage, puts them on his tool bench, which we affectionately referred to as the destruction bench, and proceeds to use electrical tape and rubber gloves to combine all of the sparklers into a single brick, with one long sparkler acting as a fuse.
I like the mental image of your dad just like a survival game character mashing together all these sparklers.
I wasn't being reductive when I said I opened my crafting menu and made this grenade launcher as a kid in Minecraft.
We found the boom muscle.
It's the boom muscle. So my sister and I, you know, we're kids. We're probably what, 8 or 9 at this point, and or that's about how old I was. My sister's like a year or two behind me, depending on the time of year. We thought, because we were kids, that it was just going to be like, oh, a bunch of sparklers. Yay.
Right.
Like, who cares, right? Who cares? My dad assures us that we are not prepared for what is about to happen. Now, I have never been in the presence of a flashbang grenade going off,
Mhm.
but I think this is the closest I've been. Because it was night, right? The bonfire was practically going.
Right.
And after my dad lights the fuse with this sparkler brick sitting on the pavement on its own off to the side, it started with that little tiny sparkler burning away. And it ended with me not being able to see anything for a couple of seconds. Once my vision returned, there was merely a soft, glowing pile of the little, like, aluminum sticks that the sparklers come on.
Yeah.
And a hole in the pavement. It physically burned the brick away. My sister and I were flabbergasted. Our little kid minds were blown, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was that year, right? We did that. It was great. It was amazing. And we thought that was the end of it. But my dad likes to escalate things. And sometimes this escalation is warranted. I definitely think I get a lot of my, like, drive in how I approach my creative projects from inspiration like that. It's also probably why some of my projects take so long. But a fair bit of that is a healthy recognition that a lot of his escalation as a kid was not always super healthy.
Mm-hmm.
This lands comfortably somewhere in the middle. Because the following year, we were sad when 4th of July weekend, my dad came home from work and did not have, like, a trunk full of, like, multiple sets of fireworks, like, from the store.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he would drop a good, like, $300 to $400 on just fireworks. So, like, nothing to sneeze at as far as volume. So we were bummed as hell when he came home and did not have, cases and cases of fireworks. He then asked us to find rubber gloves, put on our shoes, and join him in the garage. The sight that met us in the garage was a tarp. A 5-gallon bucket. Several fire extinguishers. And I want to say a, like, small pallet worth of sparkler boxes. Do you see where this is going?
Uh-huh.
We proceeded to spend a couple hours filling carefully and slowly because we didn't want to cause any friction and did not want any static buildup.
Right.
As we assembled the big one.
The big one.
And pretty soon we had filled the entire bucket with sparklers. We still had some left over, and I mentioned this to my dad, like, hey, can we make another one of those small bricks? And he's like, oh, we're not done. Because this then became a cone coming out of the top of the 5-gallon bucket.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister and I were confused because you just need one sparkler for the fuse. And he clarified, oh, no. We need... Oh, look at that. Bots. Yay. Love bots during story time.
So I do. I would like to offer you a deleted.
Deleted. So I watched and I helped as this became a cone out of the top. We then wrapped the entire thing in saran wrap, and the sun had well and truly set by this point. And we're like, so we're gonna like light this off in the street, right? And my dad says, no, get in the car. So we got in the car. We loaded the big one into the car.
The big one.
We buckled it in the back seat. And we proceeded to drive west for about 2 hours. Out to a cute little area known as the West Desert. Big ol' sand dunes. And my sister and I are instructed to stay near the car. And my dad takes this, I don't know, 700, 800 meters out to the nearest dune.
Mm-hmm.
And he left his cell phone with us, because this was back in the age of dumb phones.
Right.
He explained that if anything were to happen, that we are to call our grandma, not clarify that anything happened to him, but that we need her to come and get us. So we sat there as the tiny dark silhouette of my dad with his headlamp is there. Anyway, see ya. Is there setting up the big one in the dark.
Set us up the bomb.
And the thing I notice right away is, when you lean over and casually light a firework, and then you make sure it lights, and you kind of sit up and then saunter your way over towards the curb.
Mm.
He was at arm's length, body fully extended, half starting sprinter's position, half lighting a firework. And he would false start a couple of times where he thought it had lit, and he would dart away a bit, look back, realize it hadn't. And so he did this a couple of times until finally this tiny little spark ignited. And for how far away we were, we could barely see it. The only way we could really see it was my dad's headlamp had turned away towards us, and past him we could just see this tiny little glow.
Mm-hmm.
that no moon, no, like, just the stars overhead. It was gorgeous. It was cold as shit, but it was gorgeous out there. And pretty soon we couldn't see the little spark. And I remember being worried that it had gone out. But then I realized we couldn't see it because my dad, in full speed sprinting away from this thing, had obscured our view of it with his body.
Mm-hmm.
And I stepped to the side a little bit because I wanted to see this. It's the big one. So I can see the spark now. And then it became bigger. Then it became bigger. Then it became bigger. And suddenly night was day. And all I could see was the silhouette of my dad, $1 million man, sprinting away from the sun on the side of this sand dune. I love that you continue to stab him. Obviously, by the context of all of the stories I've told since, and the fact that I'm still here, my dad survived. I was able to give him his dumb phone back. And ever since then, two things were affirmed that day. One was that no firework display, no matter how bonfire adjacent at the end, would ever be able to compare to the big one.
Right.
And the second thing it affirmed for me is that sparklers are undoubtedly, unquestionably, and unchallengeably my favorite firework. Irrevocably. I love this little tango that's happening.
All he would have to do is turn around, and he just can't quite manage it.
I remember you telling this story to my sister and her husband.
I honestly love that me telling stories of my childhood have become stories their own. Events, almost.
My brother-in-law and your father are not allowed to.
This is fair.
They would have too much fun.
It's worth mentioning, I'm recounting this story, and the look on his face was one of elation, delight, glee, even. The look on his darling wife's face...
My sister.
...was horror, shock.
Escalating with every passing word.
Eyebrows about to detach.
Which is impressive, because she's got eyebrows for days.
Yes. Raised as high as they will go, and then some. It's locked.
Oh my. Killing zombies with the knife sucks, Dave.
Or was it just the Fernando one?
I think I told them the sparkler story after you had gone to bed.
I believe it.
The Fernando story elicited a much similar reaction.
Yes.
Oh, wow. You ever die from being puked on?
Apparently, yes.
No, come on, soundboard. There we go.
Not enough drama.
Nope.
Give me more.
Ooh.
Yeah, part of that inspired me on a scouting trip. Now, granted, so Boy Scouts of America, say what you will, right? I was in it, whatever. Our unit like actually went out and like did camping and like tying knots and woods survival, right? Like it was a good time. I learned a lot. I got up to some shenanigans for sure, but
I'm glad I was sitting down for that revelation.
But I learned a lot. One of my like crowning sort of memories from my time in Boy Scouts. Jesus.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to be around that corner.
Fair enough. So I'm a bit of a pyro. I'm sure people have garnered.
Again, so glad I was sitting down for this.
Truly. So we were. I don't think it was. God, where were we? I think it was the Uintas. I'm pretty sure it was the Uintas. We were out there for like a week during the summer. And I distinctly recall that as we were sort of like hiking out to our first camping destination, we couldn't help but notice that a lot of the trees were like dead. Just kind of dry husks. And like there were just patches of them. They were kind of here and there, like scattered generally. But we camped the first night and then second day hiked deeper and higher into the Uintas. And I recall sort of like telling some of my compatriots about the night sun, the big one. All the terms. And within that, we sort of started scheming, because how do we replicate that without any sparklers, right? Obviously, none of us had hiked into the Uintas with sparklers, and we weren't about to convince our scoutmaster to let us go back and get some. So gross.
Apparently that strategy is not as good as I thought.
The second time, yeah.
He actually knows how to turn around for some reason.
Turn around. Jesus. So we start to brainstorm, okay, how do we do this? You know, we're Boy Scouts, right? How do we do this with the materials on hand? Now, our Scoutmaster, bless his soul, it just occurred to me I probably shouldn't name him.
Yeah.
Our Scoutmaster,
Branathan.
he fell asleep pretty early in the evening, which left us more or less unattended. There was an aide to him, but he was closer to our age than his. It did not take him much convincing to be on our side for our plan. Because obviously we had built a campfire close to the tents, right?
Yeah.
But there was a big old clearing with some dry sage next to, like, near, like a football field's distance from where our tents were. So we gathered some kindling from that. And then we kept gathering kindling from that. And then pretty soon we had a snowball, like the kind you roll up for a snowman, of kindling.
Mm-hmm.
And similar to a snowball, we kept rolling it through this dry sage, which some of it dead and, rotting, was all dried out, desiccated, and just sort of came out of the dirt like butter.
Yeah.
So it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and we rolled it into probably this hay bale sized unit. And then we got the axes. And as a team, we collected safely, no one was harmed. I want to clarify this time. No one was harmed. No one lost any limbs. No first aid merit badges needed to be earned that night. However, we chopped down several of the dead, desiccated trees. Now, obviously, we pulled them to the side, chopped them into, manageable pyre-sized pieces, right? Right? That's what we did? No, kids who've been paying attention, that is not what we did. We took the whole trees, as much of the segments of them had not come off when the trees had been felled. Obviously, we collected up the spare, dead branches and other kindling-esque material and added it to the snowball of dried sage and underbrush.
Mm-hmm.
And we propped 3 of these trees as a team, teepee style, over the kindling. And then over the next few hours, we added more trees. The moon was well overhead, and in not focusing on it, our original fire had almost burned out. But it didn't matter, because we were about to make a night sun. And so, Bic lighter in hand, and our assistant scoutmaster, having a shred of responsibility that evening, elected to light it himself.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to what we thought was a safe distance. And to be fair, it was a safe distance. For about 30 seconds. Because I don't know how many viewers watching this right now have been around a campfire, but obviously the end that is burning is hot. And there's a vibrant radiant heat that you can feel ambient of the fire as you do your thing. We were standing pretty far away when the kindling originally went up, and for about 30 seconds as that continued to burn. But then it got uncomfortably hot to stand as close as we were standing. So we backed up, and then we backed up, and then we backed up, and pretty soon we were standing past where the tents were. Because it was just a little too hot to be standing any closer. Gross. Also, I hate to be that guy, but a single front kick would just send this zombie tumbling back down the stairs.
Yes.
The heat woke our scoutmaster, crawled out of his tent, and I want to remind everyone, a very LDS man proceeds to wake up and demand to know what the fuck was happening. We all, as a unit, gesture towards the bonfire, TM. He looks and notices trees that we have felled are sticking out of the top of this raging inferno that we have created. Now, clearly he sprung into action, reached into his bag, and grabbed his fire extinguisher to start battling this, right? Right? No, it was too big. We were more than a football field's distance from this thing, and like even standing at that precipice was a little too toasty. Like I want for anyone who wants a like taste of the experience of this afternoon or evening rather, set your oven to broil. Leave it for like 10 to 15 minutes. Then get your face close to the door and open it. That is what it felt like to be near the tents. We were very lucky that nothing that wasn't part of that pile burned.
Yeah, I'll say.
Our scoutmaster obviously had us dive in and pull the tents away so that the polymer and plastics wouldn't melt.
Yeah.
But we our trip got delayed by a day because what was supposed to be spent hiking deeper into the Uintas was spent babysitting this smoldering pile to make sure that it did not grow into a raging wildfire that would be a massive problem for
everyone.
For everyone. And so, a detail I forgot to relay about the big one, and wasn't as much the case with this bonfire, but I would be surprised if you found that spot in the Uintas and the like divot in the dirt from where this took place wasn't still there. Because like it was hot enough to like atomize the dirt and rock beneath it. Like there where had just been like flat ground and sagebrush was like a pit now. Not a deep one, but a noticeable one. And we made sure that it was put out that there were no smoldering coals, and then we were a day behind on our hike because of this. But the detail I forgot to mention about the big one is after about an hour of staring at this smoldering demon core out in the sands, we went closer. Now, I had no expectation that we would be able to recover the plastic bucket, right? I knew truly that was gone.
Mm-hmm.
The only benefit of going that far out towards it was because my dad wanted to show us a cool scientific effect. Because obviously outside of being like a cool science or like a cool display thing, obviously my sister and I need to learn something from this. And what we learned, whether he intended for us to or not, as my soft boot steps in the sand became crunchy, I learned how glass is made. Because, yeah, for like 100 feet around where this smoldering core was, the sand dune had just been reduced to a big ass collection of sand.
Damn it. Back. Well, okay.
Okay. Well said. We feeling like calling it there?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, thanks for having me, boss.
Yeah.
glad I got to share some Kodiak history.
Yeah. That's really good.
Look, Kodiak, the big one.
The big one.
Well, cheers all.
Baboom.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
I promise I have my pyromania under control. Asterix. I will not be clarifying what that asterisk is.
Asterix.